She is the author of this book that you all got a copy of. I think you're going to get a lot of great takeaways from this. She's got a ton of energy, so fasten your seatbelts. And please help me welcome from my hometown, Denver, Colorado, Kelly McDonald.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to be talking about crafting the customer experience for people not like you. If you work, you have a customer. If you're the CEO, then your customer isn't just the customers that you have, it's the enterprise that you serve and possibly even the community in which you live and work. If you're an admin at a company, then your customer might be your boss or your team. Every one of us has a customer. So when I'm going through this presentation today, I want you to think about the word customer in whatever way makes sense for you. It doesn't matter if you're in the tech industry, hospitality industry, if you're a supplier, we all have customers and we have to serve them. So how do you serve somebody who's not like you? I use these words not like you because I don't like this word. I don't like the D word, diversity. I don't use it very much because I find that when people say, when I say diversity, people tend to think very narrowly about diversity. They tend to think about racial and ethnic diversity. And while that's super important and we can talk about that, that's not the only way that I think that we can be diverse. My definition of diversity is much broader. My definition is any way you can be different from me. That's how I see diversity. So, do you have children? No. Oh, great. Okay, so 99% of the time that question works. Do you have children? For the love of God, somebody give me a kid. Okay. Help a sister out here. All right, so you've got kids? Great. Fantastic. So, I don't. We are the same gender. We are the same race. We could be the same age. I can tell that you're younger, but let's just go with it here. We could live in the same zip code, and we could make the same household income. And by all of those demographic standards, she and I would be the same on paper. But you know and I know that if you've got kids and I don't, girlfriend, we are going to be different in every way that actually really matters, right? She's going to make decisions differently than I am. She's going to have different pressures and priorities on her. That has nothing to do with race, income, gender, age, anything. It has something to do with parenthood versus not parenthood, right? So here's my list of diversity. Yours could be different. Gender, men are different from women, no doubt about it. I mean, obviously there's comedians who make their entire living riffing off of this, but it really is true. Women use something like 20,000 more words a day than men. I know. My husband's like, for you, Kelly, it's 60,000. And if you're involved with a woman and you want things to keep going well, don't do this, okay? Little piece of advice. Apparently, I was telling my husband about my day one time in excruciating detail, and I guess he'd had enough because he goes like this to me. Really? Wow. Anyway, yeah, so, you know, Sarah mentioned I have a lot of energy. He's always like, you're at a 10, we need you at a 2. Bring it down. Anyway, all right, so what about religious differences? That's a way that we can be different from one another, right? Political views, and I'm not just saying that because the conventions are starting next week, or this week, and next week. You know, these really are real. Age and generational differences, obviously as marketing professionals, you know this. LGBTQ, physical abilities, mental abilities, emotional abilities. What about rural versus metro? You know, somebody who lives in a loft in Manhattan is very different than someone who lives on a ranch in West Texas. Military civilian, there's two totally different worlds. Racial, and folks, there are only 5 races, and these are them. Everyone on the planet falls into these. Everything else is either a label or just a term. There's no such race as the Caucasian race. There's no such race as Anglo. Those are terms. They're not bad. They're just not correct. These are the correct terms. There is no such race as African American. Those are labels. So these are the 5 races. Everybody falls into one of these. But of course, we have ethnic, linguistic differences. Hispanic is not a race. It's an ethnicity. Or if you're from India, then your race is Asian and your ethnicity is Indian. Nativity. I think somebody who's foreign born would look at the world in the United States with a very different lens than someone who's US born. Life stage. You know, a new mom or a new dad is in a totally different place than someone who's a college student or an empty nester or a retiree. Lifestyle and affluence, of course. And one of my favorites, core values. You know, if you take your plastic bottle of water when you're finished drinking it and you toss it into the recycling bin when you're finished instead of the trash, that tells me something about you. It's just a little thing. You're just taking this little action, but it tells me something. Maybe you're just trying to leave a smaller footprint and do your part. Or if you homeschool your child instead of sending your kid to a public or private school, that tells me something about your values, all right? So, how do I craft a customer experience that's exceptional for someone who's not like me? The only lens that I have to look out at the world and interpret the world is my lens. I don't know what it's like to be somebody else. I will never know what it is like to be a guy. I don't yet know what it's like to be 80 years old. I don't know what it's like to be black, Hispanic, Asian, or Native American. I don't know what it's like to be a mom. I don't know what it's like to be in the military. I don't know what it's like to live on a farm. I don't know what it's like to own a dog. These are things that I don't know. But I promise you that that doesn't mean that I can't meaningfully connect with somebody who is those things, does those things, has those things. The way that you do that is by understanding that what makes you you isn't the color of your skin or your age, etc. It is your priorities, it is your values, and it is your experiences. That's what makes you you. And all of that is what shapes perspective. And perspective is never wrong. No one's perspective is ever wrong. It's how they see the world. Your perspective is different than hers, who's different than his. Everybody's perspective is valid. I might respectfully disagree with your perspective, and I might offer you an alternative perspective for your consideration, but I can't tell you you're wrong. It's like your opinion. You're entitled to have any opinion you want. So, try this exercise if you want to see how different perspective can be. When asked the exact same question, different people will respond in totally different ways, based solely on their perspective. When asked to name how Kennedy died, matures and baby boomers are going to say a gunshot wound in Dallas, right? Gen X will say a plane crash near Martha's Vineyard. And Gen Y will say Kennedy who? Sorry, wires, a little levity at your expense. Try this one. This is a really young audience, so I don't even know if this one's going to work. Matures will say, who's Ron Howard? Matures will say Opie, right? Baby boomers like me are likely to say Richie from Happy Days. And both Gen X and Gen Y are likely to say an award-winning director. You see, everybody knows who Ron Howard is. What changes is the way that we know him, the context, its perspective. And you know what? He's all of these things, right? None of these are right or wrong. Every one of these is valid. It's all in how you see them. So, in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be talking about 6 ways to deepen the customer experience. Figuring out your fab, giving people what they need, fostering a culture of empathy, relieving pain, tapping into values, and paying attention to trends. So, that's a lot to cover in 30 minutes. Listen fast. Figuring out your fab. You know, I'm a marketing professional, and many of you are too. Most of you are too. I think one of the things that we do as marketing professionals, especially if we're under pressure from everything from bosses to boards of directors, whatever, is we end up focusing on features when what we really should be doing is figuring out our benefits, right? So fab is features, attributes, and benefits. And the mistake that we make is always talking about the features and the attributes, and nobody really cares about that. We only care about benefits. Let me give you an example. My car. My car has this feature that is called Bluetooth technology. That is a feature of my car. It's a thing, what it is. What it does is it gives me hands-free technology. That's the attribute. I still don't care about that. I don't care about Bluetooth, and I don't care about hands-free talking. What I care about is safety. That's the benefit. With 2 hands on the wheel, I can have a conversation with Sarah, and it's a safer ride. Nobody cares about features or attributes generally. They only care about benefits. Also, giving people what they need. You know, the largest companies do this. They find ways to tweak their products and services in just a little way to give people what they need. Macy's is the largest department store that we have in this country. Even Macy's doesn't offer the same stuff everywhere. If you go to Macy's in Salt Lake City, you're going to find a larger selection of large, oversized cookware than anywhere else. Because Salt Lake City is home to the largest Mormon population in the United States. A key tenet of Mormonism is larger family sizes. And another key tenet of Mormonism is eating family meals together. So it makes sense that if you've got a family of 6 or a family of 7, it's going to be easier to make scrambled eggs in a large, oversized skillet than to make it in a small one and make it twice or make a mess. If you go to Atlanta, which is home to one of the largest black populations in the United States and one of the most devout church-going populations in the United States, you will find a larger selection of women's clothing in white and women's church hats, because many black women choose to wear white to church and church hats. So while Macy's sells church hats everywhere, you're going to find a better selection of them in Atlanta. Even companies like Burger King adjust their menu. And a quick aside, I did the keynote last year for the Burger King conference, so they have all their franchisees at this conference. They thought it was hysterical that my last name is McDonald. Seriously, they're cracking themselves up. They're like, we got Kelly McDonald in our anyway. So I'm on up after the president of Burger King, and he's talking about their business. And by the way, if you ever want to know in the fast food business, it's all about chicken and breakfast. So and chicken and breakfast is what they were talking about. And he said, you know, we're adjusting our menu to give people what they want. In New York, their breakfast sandwich is served on bagels. And in Birmingham, that same sandwich is served on biscuits. Give people what they want, small tweaks. Foster a culture of empathy. You know, empathic employees aren't just nice. Everybody's polite, everybody gives good customer service. Empathic employees have certain characteristics. What you want to do when you're hiring is hire the right person, not necessarily the resume. Now, obviously, if you need certain skills, if you need a CFO, you need a CFO. But many of us have teachable jobs. And one of the things I've learned in my time on this planet is that many times I'm better off hiring the right person and teaching them the job than finding someone who has those 5 to 8 years of experience or whatever and hoping I get the right person. I can't teach you judgment. I can't teach you resilience. I can't teach you to have compassion. Those are things that by the time you're in the working world, you're fully baked. I don't mean baked like in the Denver sense, like where I'm from, I know. But you're fully baked. So I'd rather find the right person and teach the job than the other way. So in that sense, don't be afraid to recruit from new ponds. When you come across someone who is giving you exceptional service in terms of working with them, that's a person who is like that. If I go to Macy's and I buy a blouse and the person waiting on me is amazing, you know what I do? I give them my business card and I say, if you ever want to make a change, I would love to talk to you. It's not a promise. I'm not promising anything. I'm just simply saying, if you ever want to make a change, I would like to talk to you. I like your approach. Because awesome people are awesome everywhere. They're not selectively awesome. They're not going to be awesome on Monday and suck on Thursday. They're not going to be awesome at your company and suck somewhere else. Awesome people bring the awesomeness. It's in their DNA. That's how they're wired. So when you find someone who's awesome, understand that that's how they are. They're going to bring their best to everything that they do. And that's a key if you're trying to foster an empathic culture. One of the other things about those people is they have very specific characteristics, and one is that they're attuned to subtleties. This is a picture of Brianna Ridgemore. She's my Starbucks barista, and this is a real story, and this is really her. I actually featured her in my book. She's so amazing. She's so awesome. She and I got talking about giving people what they want, and she tells me, oh my gosh, I see this all the time. And not to be dismissive, but I'm thinking, she's making cups of coffee. How different can it be? Coffee's coffee, right? And she goes, oh, no. Let me tell you about this guy. I got to tell you a story. This guy comes in one time, and we all know this guy. He's everywhere. He's at every Starbucks, you know, I swear. Okay, this guy comes in, and he's like, you know, he finds himself very attractive, right? Finds himself very attractive. He's on his phone, and he's just like too cool, right? And any reasonable person on their phone going into Starbucks would be like, blah, 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 hang on a second, put the phone down, and then order. No, not this guy. He's way too important, right? So he comes up and he's like, blah, 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 and he starts pointing at the menu board. Yeah, starts pointing. And she's like, really? This is how this is going to go. Okay. So he's like pantomiming, you know, pointing. She figures out that he wants, you know, a macchiato, and then she's like, all right, two can play this game. So he's still on the phone. She goes, he lands on medium, and she's like, and he's like, right? So without a word, she figures out that he wants a, you know, grande macchiato, no whipped cream, okay? All of this goes down without a word, and she's making his drink. She's hating on this guy, hating on him. Jerk, 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 she's thinking, and then he tips her fat. And she's like, Next day, the guy comes in. Dude is still on the phone, okay? Blah, blah, blah. The whole thing starts all over again. He starts pointing, and she's like, oh, for the love of God, really? And so, you know, she doesn't remember his drink, so she goes, you know, goes through this thing again. Whipped cream? Nope, he doesn't want that. Boom, he tips her fat. By the third day, you don't forget a guy like this. By the third day, he comes in. Dude is still on the phone, and she doesn't even have to go through that whole rigmarole. I mean, she's got this, right? She looks at him, and she's like, and he's like, yeah. And he tips her fat. And she said, you know, in the beginning, I thought this guy was the biggest jerk I'd ever met in my entire life. And what I came to believe is I don't know what this guy does for a living. Maybe he's on a conference call overseas every morning. But the reason he tips me fat is not because I'm giving him a cup of coffee. What I'm giving him is speed and efficiency. He doesn't have to miss a step. He doesn't have to take a breath. And that's why he tips her fat. Speed and efficiency is what she's really giving him in that customer experience. Now, that little old lady who comes in the afternoon, she doesn't want speed and efficiency, right? She's lonely. She wants somebody to talk to. And Brianna understands that. And she said, I try to give that little old lady as much time and attention as I can between customers. That is an awesome employee. That is an empathic employee. The other thing about empathic employees is that they're gracious under every circumstance. So do you guys know those little, those Halloween stores that pop up in grungy, shopping centers at Halloween? Yeah. So they come and they go. So think about this. You're only in business for 8 weeks a year. I've spoken at their conference, the Halloween Expo. Their number one issue is personnel. They're only in business for 8 weeks a year. So, but they got to make their money in 8 weeks. They have 8 weeks to make their entire year. There's a lot of pressure on them. What kind of employees do you think you get drifting in and out of your jobs for 8 weeks? Even the seasonal employees want to go through Christmas, right? You know who they get? I'm not kidding. Meth heads. Okay? That's who they get. People who are not very reliable, who are just sort of drifting into jobs, and yet they need them to show up every day. So I'm talking to them at their cocktail party, and they're talking about personnel, and this one woman says, I am so blessed because I've actually got this really awesome workforce, and they're very stable. And she goes, and one particular employee is amazing. She totally gets it. She told me a story about how a woman came into the store one time, and this woman was very, very, very large. And she had her heart set on being Spider-Man at a party. So the employee gets her the Spider-Man outfit, takes her to the dressing room, gets her in there, and the employee's standing outside and says, how's it going in there? And the woman comes out and she looks something like this. Right? Now, just to show you the power of Google Images, because this is clearly not a real picture, there's a bookcase in the background, but when you type in large woman in Spider-Man outfit, boom, you get an image like this. It's incredible. They have everything, right? So she looks something like this, but she's not rocking anywhere near this kind of body confidence because she comes out and she goes, I look horrible. And the employee, without missing a beat, goes, actually, you look awesome, but didn't you say you were going to a party? And the woman said, well, yes, I am. And she goes, I don't know about you, but my definition of going to a party and having fun at that party is being comfortable. I can't have fun if I'm not comfortable. And you have chosen probably the hottest, most confining outfit that we have. It's hot, it's sweaty, it's like being wrapped in a wet paper towel and then being put in saran wrap. So she was like, I don't know about you, but have you thought about something a little bit more comfortable? Have you thought about being a geisha? And the woman said, no, tell me about the geisha outfit. And she said, oh my gosh, it's the best. You get to wear this long flowing robe. You get to wear slippers. How much better does it get than that? So she not only didn't make it about appearance, she made the solution about comfort, but furthermore, the Spider-Man outfit is a $50 outfit and the geisha outfit is $200. The other thing about empathic employees is they're not defensive when things go wrong. Has anybody here ever remodeled or fixed up a part of their house or garage? Oh my God. That is the worst experience ever. No matter how much I was prepared, I thought I was prepared for this, I wasn't. I did my kitchen and my master bath last year, and it was agony. Everything that can go wrong does go wrong. Everything takes longer than they say it's going to, and everything costs more. That's a fact. Talk to anybody. It's just the nature of how these projects go. But I had the world's greatest contractor, and the reason I had the world's greatest contractor is every single thing that went wrong, and there were a million, he said the only 5 words that I care about and the only 5 words that anybody cares about. And those 5 words are, we'll take care of it. You know what? I don't care that the tile guy didn't show up today. I don't care that there was a snowstorm in Buffalo that delayed the shipment of my hardwood floors. I don't care that your servers went down. Those are your problems. They're real, and I'm not trying to minimize those. But from a customer standpoint, we don't care about those things. All we care about is, what are you going to do to take care of it? So when things are going wrong, you need to teach your employees and teach your staff that ultimately all the things that you want to say about going wrong are just excuses, or they sound like excuses. All somebody wants to hear is, we'll take care of it. And then if you say those words, for crying out loud, then do it. Also, relieving pain. You know, unless you're into like 50 Shades of Grey or something like that, most of us actually don't gravitate toward pain. We go away from pain. And we want to go to the businesses and, you know, that make it easier to do business with them and not painful. The thing is, everybody's pain point is a little bit different. So, you know, those, like women, for example, want security and great personal service. And I'm not suggesting that men don't, but women place a very high value on this. So, you know those companies that'll come out and when you get a chip in your windshield, they'll come to your home or your office and they'll fix your windshield. And they'll file the insurance paperwork for you. It's amazing. That's an amazing service. You don't have to go anywhere. They come to you and they just do it. What a great service. But Safe Flight Auto found that women, and particularly single women, were extremely uncomfortable with the idea of some strange guy coming to their house. They're like, now this guy knows where I live, and now he knows I live alone. And I've been doing this presentation one time, and this woman yells out from the audience. I think she thought it was an interactive exercise. And she goes, yeah, and they show up in a big, white, scary van. Perspective is never wrong, right? Never thought about it that way, but it's true. So here they go. Now this guy knows where I live. He knows I live alone. And he shows up in a big, white, scary van. That's how people get abducted, right? So the very thing that is a service that this company offers, that an amazing service, becomes a pain point for women, an anxiety point. So what SafeFlight does now is when you make an appointment with them, they automatically, after you make the appointment, send you an email with a picture of the guy or the woman who is going to show up and do the work and tell you what time they come, thereby introducing you to this person, and now this person isn't so scary. That has nothing to do with selling. You're already a customer by the time you get that email. You've already made the appointment. It has to do with frosting the cake. It has to do with taking away a little anxiety point. Men hate ironing. Do you guys know this? He's like, totally hate ironing, absolutely. Yeah, and you know, Omni Hotels found that men hate ironing so much that they would go to extraordinary lengths to avoid ironing. Because of course the challenge is if you're coming to a conference like this, you gotta look decent, right? So you can't just look like you slept in your clothes. Did you sleep in your clothes? Yeah. So they found that men would go to extraordinary lengths from a business standpoint. They would either buy a new shirt in the city that they're traveling to. They would steam it in the shower for 45 minutes, right? So the point that they found out is, if that's what makes people uncomfortable, then why don't we just give them, instead of 500 points for stay, why don't we just give them free pressing of 2 garments? And anybody can take advantage of this. I've taken advantage of it. But it was a pain point that was revealed through consumer research for men. So how do you know where the pain points are? Ask. Literally, it's that simple. Think about what consumer research is. It doesn't matter if it's focus groups or if it's surveys. All you're ever doing with research is talking to people and asking them about their opinion. Most of us are incredibly happy to give our opinions about just about anything if you ask. But we're not going to just offer that if you don't ask. You also got to get feedback from associates. So let's talk about asking. There's this concept called pilot fish. Once I learned about this, it kind of changed everything for me. It was really amazing. The idea is that schools of fish swim. You've seen it on the Nature Channel, etc. Hundreds, millions, hundreds of thousands of fish swimming, 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 and then they'll turn. And they'll all turn on a dime in exact military precision. It's not like most of them turn and some of them are going to catch up in a little while. They're all doing this together. And scientists have looked at this and gone, how do they know to turn? Like, who's communicating with them? How do fish do this? And what they've identified is that at the front of that school of fish, usually invisible to your eye, is in fact a pilot fish. That fish is in charge. That fish is the leader, and all the rest are followers. So the correlation to human nature is any group of 3 or more. The 5 people in this, 6 people, 5. 5 people in this front row here, I could make a group of them. One of them would emerge as a pilot fish. Think about 5 people that you work with, 5 people in your church group, 3 people in your workout group, doesn't matter. Any group of 3 or more, this works. One will emerge as a pilot fish. It is the person who is influential. They are an opinion leader. Others follow them. They may not know that they're a pilot fish. It's not like they're walking around going, I'm so influential. But what they say kind of goes. So look around you, and if you are thinking about who your pilot fish might be, it could be a supplier, it could be a customer, it could be a client of yours, it could be anybody. These are people who know your business and who will tell you what's really going on if you ask. And what you have to do is start an ongoing dialogue with them and saying, what do you see? What do you hear? Tell me what we need to know to be better. They will tell you if you open the door to that conversation. And talk to your associates, for crying out loud. I travel all the time. And I was in upstate New York one time, somewhere between Albany and Syracuse. And if you've ever been there, there's not much between Albany and Syracuse. So my client puts me up at what they think is like the nicest hotel around. And it's nice, but it's more like a converted B&B, like a Victorian house. It's not like a hotel set up with Wi-Fi and all this. So it's fine, but it's old and it's just got like very, dim lighting. I get into the room, it's like got the dimmest lighting I have ever seen in my entire life. 2 little lamps by the side of the bed with a 25-watt bulb. I'm literally reading in bed that night with my flashlight app on my phone, and I'm dragging the ironing board into the bathroom the next day because that's the only place where there's overhead lighting. I don't care. It was clean and comfortable. I'm not a diva. I'm just telling you the story. So the next day I'm leaving. I'm out. Done. I'm out. I got my rolly bag. I am 15 feet from the door, and I would go rolling past the front desk, and the woman goes, "Thanks. How was your stay?" And without thinking, I guess my filter wasn't in place. I go, "It was okay, thanks." And she's, and I know that when somebody says, "It was okay," it's not really okay. It's kind of, not bad enough to complain about, but it's not great. And so she's smart enough to pick up on this, and she goes, "It was just okay? Was something wrong?" And again, if you ask, I'll tell you. I didn't want her to think something was wrong, so I stopped, and I was like, no, nothing was really wrong. It was fine. The room was clean and comfortable. It was fine. But I got to tell you, that is the dimmest room I have ever been in my life. I literally couldn't even read. I had to use the flashlight app on my phone, and I had to drag the ironing board into the bathroom the next day. It's the dimmest room I've ever seen. And she said, "Yeah, we hear that a lot." Might want to fix that. My point is, I bet she does hear it a lot because she's at the front desk. I'll bet the person who needs to hear it, who's not hearing it, is her boss, right? And so if I were her boss, I'd be saying to her, "Hey, Susan, you talk to more people every week in and out of here than anybody else because you're checking everybody in and checking everybody out. What are you hearing? What do you hear? What do the customers like? What do they not like?" And that would have been her chance to say, everybody finds this place charming, but they do complain about the lighting. You don't know what you don't know. As a business person, I'm not afraid of the problems I know about. I'm afraid of the ones I don't know about. Talk to your frontline people. After every event, after anything, before anything, they will tell you what you need to know. And tap into values. As a marketing professional, what I've learned is that if I can figure out what you value, I can figure out how to get into your wallet. It's a promise, because people spend money on what they value. So here's some things that everybody values. I have never known anyone who doesn't value these things. Local business and green and environmentally friendly. Now, when I say local, I mean it. Even huge, large, national and global companies are still doing business locally. They're hiring people locally, they're using local suppliers, and they are part of a local community. I believe that everybody's local. Even if your company is a big national company, everybody's local. And green, even if you're just recycling paper at the office, you got to let people know that you're doing your part, because people care about this. Here's some other values. These are sort of broad generalizations, but women value expansive choices and seeing all of our options. We are not overwhelmed when we are given lots of choices. It's actually the opposite. We feel empowered. I can look at 175 different colors of blouses and know that I want the tangerine one. And I know I want the tangerine one because I looked at all 175, and that's the one I want. We are completely solid in our recommendations and our choices when we're given all the options. Men, on the other hand, men want their choices simplified. I'm sorry, you guys, but there is a reason why your clothes only come in 3 colors. Black, navy, khaki. Look at you. That's what you have, right? So all kidding aside, the magic number for men is 3. This is not Kelly science. This is really true. This is a game changer for you. The magic number for men is 3. 2 is not enough choice. 4 is way too much. Don't overwhelm a guy, right? So if I say to you, sir, right there, chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry? Chocolate. He can choose. I may not have mentioned his favorite flavor. Maybe it's mint chocolate chip or butter pecan, but if given 3 choices, he can choose. Try this. Blonde, brunette, redhead. Careful. Anyway. The magic number for men is 3. Fun fact. Men buy more electronics than any other consumer group. More electronics. More than women, more than blacks, more than whites, more than Gen X, more than Gen Y, more than boomers. Any way you can slice and dice consumers, men buy more electronics. More flat screens, more tablets, more computers, more cameras, more anything, more phones. Haven't you ever noticed that when you go shopping for electronics and think about Black Friday, all of the pricing is done in groups of 3? Even stuff that is not electronics, that is marketed heavily to men, like tires, is done in groups of 3. So this is a game changer. This is how you apply this. If you want to sell to women, let's say it's your boss and you're selling a proposal. Let's say it's your customer. Then with women, you would be like, here are all of the options that we have. Let me take you through every single thing. And then give her plenty of time. Let her ask all the questions she wants. She's going to be happy as a clam looking at every opportunity and every possibility. And with the guy, you would say, here's our 3 most popular plans. Here's our 3 newest products. Here's our 3 best-selling products, etc. Our 3 best colors, whatever. Give a guy 3. If he wants more information, he can always ask for more, but you'd be amazed how far you can get with 3. I have also learned to manage my husband with this, okay? No, seriously, this is like a game changer. Once I learned this, life became so easy. Okay, so my husband and I know we can't be the only ones, we would stand in our kitchen on Friday nights just completely brain dead from the week, okay? We're tired, it's been a long week, we can't even think. We can't make a decision. So we'd be standing there and he'd be like, what do you want to do about dinner? And I'd be like, I don't know, what do you want to do? Do you want to go out? Do you want to stay in? I don't know, what do you feel like? Are you craving anything? I don't know, are you even hungry? I'm not even sure, So this would go on and on. We would literally just be like inertia. So now I just go to him on Friday nights and I go, Thai, Italian, or Mexican? And he's like, Mexican, let's go. So, it's a game changer. Here's a universal truth. This is one that applies to everybody in terms of values. There are only 2 things in the whole world that motivate all of us. And it's not what you think. It's not money, it's not power, it's not sex. They are hope and fear. Those are the only 2 things that motivate all of us. And of those, hope is the more powerful motivator. Fear, let me back up. Fear is actually effective for short-term results, especially when you think about marketing. Macy's one-day sale. It's only 1 day. If I miss out, I'm probably paying too much. Right? It's fear, okay? So fear is very good for motivating on a short-term basis to get people to do things, right? If you don't do this, you're going to get fired. It can change people. But hope is more effective on a long-term sustainable basis, and certainly from an event marketing standpoint. So let me give you a quick example of a brand that did a very sensitive issue in terms of marketing, and I thought and did it in a hopeful way, whereas most brands in this category operate on fear, and that is the insurance industry. The insurance industry, in its very nature, sells something that we are afraid of, right? If I don't have insurance and I crash my car, that's really going to get ugly and expensive, right? Their entire business model is based on fear. So this is one for New York Life that is based on hope, and they are selling, in this case, long-term care. Can you think of anything less sexy in the world than long-term care? Someday you'll need diapers, right? No, seriously, this is like Debbie Downer stuff in the extreme. Like, it's real, but it's really, really not very fun to talk about this, okay? And yet it's important. So here's what they say here. Here's to a long life. And all that implies. Because if you live a long life, someday you're probably going to need long-term care. But they haven't made it about fear and sadness and all the bad things. They've made it hopeful. Here's to a long life. Here's a couple of millennials' key values. Diversity. And I don't mean just diversity in terms of racial or ethnic. I love this little jigsaw puzzle graphic. I stole it from somewhere. I just love it because look at, it says thinking styles, perspectives, job level. This is their definition of diversity. Any way you can be different from me. And customization and personalization. It's all about me, me, me. And they're the ones who started this, but we all gravitate to this. It's actually made the business case for certain brands. Brands like Chipotle or even Subway. Why do millennials love those brands so much? Because they can go and get their burrito exactly the way they want it. They can stand right in front of them and go, black beans, no guacamole, extra cheese, no, salsa, etc. Everybody wants things exactly the way they want them. So that leads me to paying attention to trends. And as marketing professionals or anyone even remotely connected to the event marketing business, I think this isn't just our job, it's our duty. How can we serve our customers and our communities and our constituencies if we don't even have our finger on the pulse of what's going on out there? So pay attention to trends, but not to fads. Fads come and go. Fads come and go like fashion. Trends don't come and go. Trends are shifts. So here's one. Mass is out and customization is in. So McDonald's, entire business model based on mass. 40 seconds through the drive-through, and whether you like McDonald's or not, I study them. I study them and I watch them because they're so big that they rarely make a mistake. By the time they roll something out, it's pretty well vetted and it's going to be successful. So here's their problem. Gen Y is shunning McDonald's because they look at that food and they go, it's not fresh and it's certainly not customized. And it's not fresh. I mean, it was made a month ago and then it was, put on a truck and sent to a franchisee. And then it was put in their freezer. And then this morning they microwaved it for you just now. Yummy. So Gen Y is not going to McDonald's because they're not getting anything that they want. The problem with that is they're not taking their kids either. So McDonald's is losing out on 2 generations of customers, and they're smart enough to realize that this is a massive problem. So one of the things that they're testing right now is customized kiosks where you can go up and you can get your sandwich, and you can get it exactly the way you want, starting with 9 different kinds of bread. Ciabatta bread, sourdough, whole wheat, rye, pumpernickel, white, you name it. Then you pick your sandwich. Oh, chicken sandwich, crispy, fried, grilled, and so on and so forth. By the time it's done, it's a $9 sandwich, and it's a 7-minute proposition. That is a lifetime in the fast food business. But that's what people want. The other thing that they're testing is guacamole. And guacamole is a proof point of freshness, because if you've ever made guacamole, you know that it can't be exposed to air. It starts turning brown. So the very fact that you even have guacamole on your menu means it must be fresh. It's a proof point. When an entire company globally is talking about rethinking their entire business model from mass to customization, then you know that is not a fad, that is in fact a trend. And customization isn't just cool. It's not like, oh, that's kind of cool, I get my sandwich the way I want. It can change business. Soft drinks in this country, the entire soft drink category has been going down, straight down for 6 consecutive years. Year over year over year over year decline. Many of us are just not drinking that stuff anymore. Or if we are, we got a lot of choices. I don't have to have a soft drink. I can have an Arizona iced tea. I can have a Red Bull. So what did Coke do last year? The names campaign. Every one of us saw this. Who doesn't want to see their name on a can of Coke? So they started with the really traditional names like David and Michael and Laura and Mary and Sarah. But then what happens is people started going, well, my parents named me Julia and they spell it Giulia or Arav. And Coke was like, send us your name. We'll make you a can. We'll make you a soda. They didn't want anybody left out. So any kind of name was game for customization. So if your name is Bort, you've got a can. So then they started having fun with it because this thing grew and grew and grew. They started soliciting. What's your name? Look at how many different ways you can spell Abby. A-B-B-Y, A-B-B-I-E, A-B-B-I, A-B-B-E-Y, and so on and so forth. Then they started really having fun with it. Donner, Prancer, Cupid. They had a big ad last year that said, share a Coke with the founding fathers, and they had all the people who signed the Declaration of Independence in a name like that. And then this is the one that I'm going to show you this, and if this doesn't move you, then you have no soul. If you're blind, shouldn't you still be able to read your name on a can of Coke? I think so. So, aside from the fact that this is cool, and we all saw this and we all probably responded to it, it's single-handedly not only halted a 6-year decline in business, it reversed it. They saw their first sales increase in 6 years, and nothing else changed. The product didn't change, the distribution didn't change, only the marketing, only the customization. Social is absolutely everything. And I'm not talking just social media. I'm talking about our desire to stay socially connected. Is there anything in the whole world that is less social than doing business with a vending machine? No. You go up, you put your money in, you press a button, it dispenses something, right? Gum, candy, soft drink, whatever. So, Pepsi's trying to change that with the Pepsi social vending unit. Have you seen this? You go up, you swipe, I put my money in, get my $2, I press Diet Pepsi, and the next question that it asks is, do you want to send your friend a drink? Yeah, I totally want to send my friend a drink. What a fantastic idea. Oh my gosh, you right there. What's your name? Hello, are you awake? Sir. Rob. You, I'm pointing. Mike. All right, great. I'm going to call you. This is not a hard question. What is your name? Mike, this works out perfectly. I think I'm going to call you Mike, okay? So, Mike and I are friends. I'm going to go up and you know what? Mike is having a tough week. He can't even remember his name, you know? But he's having a tough week. I'm going to send him a little Kelly love. And because we're friends, I have his number in my phone. I'll swipe and put $2 more on Mike. I put his number into the Pepsi social vending unit and shazam, he gets a text that says, "Hi, Mike. Kelly sent you a gift. Use this code to redeem at the nearest Pepsi social vending unit." How cool is that? This is what I call surprise and delight, and I know you guys know about surprise and delight. This is surprise and delight for both me and Mike. I was just going to go get myself a drink, and then suddenly I was given away to do something fun for my friend. It's surprise and delight for Mike because he's going to be sitting in some meeting somewhere, and he's going to get a text under the table that says, "Kelly bought you a drink." I'm waiting for them to come up with the margarita machine. Kelly bought you a drink. Also, new products are fostering this demand for our connectivity. I want you to think about the umbrella that's in your car. Think about the shape of that umbrella when it's open, what it looks like. The umbrella design hasn't changed in hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. It hasn't had to. It's perfect the way it is. Until now. Now we have this. What do you need that for? So you can do this. Because Lord knows we are not going to stop texting just because it's raining. And this is practical, you know, if you've ever tried to actually do, this is great. But we're talking about a thing that hasn't had its design changed in hundreds of years, and the only reason it's changing is because we will not stop being socially connected even for 3 minutes. Here's another one. Selfie sticks. I know. You feel like the biggest dork in the world if you've ever had one of these, but then you look at how amazing your pictures turn out, and you're like, So I got one of these as a gag gift a couple years ago. It is now my go-to gift for my friends. If you do this, don't get your friends a cheap one. Spend the $39 and get the good one. It's a game changer, okay? So we all take selfies, right? Quick selfie 101. The women all know this, so really this is for the benefit of the men. Quick selfie 101. If you want to make yourself look hideous in a selfie, hideous, then just do this. Hold that phone down here and look into it. Oh my God. You're going to have 90 chins and be 800 pounds overweight. My husband has yet to learn this. I'm on the road a lot, so we FaceTime a lot or whatever, and he'll be like, "Hi, baby." And I'm like, "Oh, God. What is that? Lift it up, darling." Yeah. So anyway, that is a very unflattering angle. You do not look like that, okay? It's a really unflattering angle. If you want to make yourself look amazing in a selfie, I don't mean good. I mean amazing. Then this is what you do. All the women know this. It's not just out, it's out and up. And then this is the advanced class. Out and up, circle for light. Boom, there it is. All right? There's always an amazing, great angle, right? Right. Okay, so here's the deal. When it's out and up, we look amazing. We look taller. We look skinnier. I believe somehow we look smarter. Okay? Everything good comes from being up this high. The problem is I'm only 5'7". My arm is only so long. In order to get myself as amazing as I look, I need that extra 24 inches of selfie stick. So it's astonishing. I'm not a skinny girl. But if you friend me on Facebook, I look 30 pounds lighter than I actually am. Because I've learned, just friend me and you'll see. You'll be like, she doesn't look anything like that. Anyway. So my point isn't about selfie sticks. My point isn't even about selfies. My point is, why do we take selfies in the first place? So we can share them. So we can share them. That's what we do with them, right? I take a picture of me and you, and I upload it to Instagram. Boom, here I am at SEMA. I take a picture of me and you, and I text it over to her. Here, wish you were here. We are not Kim Kardashian. We are not just looking at ourselves going, "I'm so hot," right? We share our selfies. That's the reason we take them in the first place. Sharing is the trend. This is probably a stupid fad, the selfie stick. They'll come out with something better. But sharing isn't going to go away. Once you start sharing your life, you don't unshare. A couple of quick marketing trends, and then I'm going to wrap it up. People want to see the real real. They want to see the real real. Most of us don't live and leave it to Beaverland. We have all kinds of families. We have all kinds of lives. So, for example, there's lots of single parents these days. Grand families, people who are raising their grandchildren either partially or fully. Did you guys see the Cheerios ad last year with the interracial couple? Did you see this? So, quick one for those of you who didn't. Black dad, white mom, adorable little girl. And the little girl says, "Mommy, why do we eat Cheerios?" And Mommy says, "Because it's good for Daddy's heart." So then the little girl goes and dumps the whole box of Cheerios on Daddy's heart, on Daddy's chest. He's sleeping on the couch because it's good for his heart. That was the whole ad. Never once did they go, and check out our cool interracial family. You know, they didn't have to. They just showed a family. Honey Maid, another iconic brand, is doing a campaign right now featuring no actors, nothing but real people in real situations, real families, no actors. And their campaign tagline is, a wholesome snack for all wholesome families. And one of the families that they show is a gay couple with children, wholesome dadvertising from Honey Maid. Nobody is doing this because it's hurting business or losing money. They're doing it because people respond. They go, yeah, that's the real. That looks like my family. That looks like me. Use contemporary imagery. I don't mean even just diversity of skin tone. We're hopefully past that. 40% of people 18 to 35 have 4 or more tattoos. 4 or more. They don't just have ink, they have lots of ink. And it's not just people in the creative fields. It's moms. It's everybody. And tattoos and high income now mix. Tattoos used to be something unsavory. You were either a gangbanger, you'd been in prison, you were a drug dealer, you were a motorcycle dude, a sailor, right? All of these sort of like, things or whatever. But now look at this. Here's Valentino's latest campaign. Valentino bags and handbags and stuff are like $3,000 and up. And every single thing that they're doing, including the shades, has tattoos. And we're even seeing this in conservative industries. This is an outdoor billboard for a bank in Philadelphia. So Bank Local, Philly's most advanced neighborhood bank. Sure, she's got like a cool edgy haircut, but look at her left arm. It's an entire sleeve of ink. And this is a bank. So, keep it short. People's attention span isn't what it used to be, right? Listicles. Listicles are exactly what that sounds like. They are lists that are masquerading as articles, because none of us have any attention span anymore. So, 50 perfect toys for men, right? All that is like one sentence that says, trying to figure out what to get your guy for the holidays? Here's a list of 50 perfect toys for men. And then it's a list. You've seen this kind of stuff. The 6 most ridiculous things people claim to legally own. People love lists because they can skim them. But you got to make them shareable. So make everything shareable because that's, again, not a fad. It is a trend. Lastly, know that helping beats selling. If you help me, you will sell me. If you help me, you don't have to sell me. So a focus group one time, a young guy goes, we don't need any more information. We have this thing called the internet. What we need is advice. And I think that is what is all about for all of us. Our clients, our customers, what they come to us for is an experience, a guide, advice, whatever. But they don't come to us for sales pitches. So here's 7 things you can do right now. Whoops, we'll start with number 2. Figure out your fab. Market the benefits, not the features. Hold a candid conversation with associates about what they're hearing. Identify at least 2 pilot fish and begin an ongoing dialogue with them. Try to figure out what the customer pain points are, and if you can, work to resolve those. Explore ways that you can customize any kind of product or experience, or even the customer experience. Make sure your social media platforms educate and help, not just sell. And share with associates those 5 magic words. We'll take care of it. This is so important. None of these things on this list of 7 here cost a lot of money or take a year to get off the ground. They're not big initiatives that you need $1 million and all kinds of corporate approval. These are simple things that enhance every customer experience. You guys have been a great audience. I have a book by the same title, and I think everybody got a copy. Thank you, SEMA, for providing a copy of this to everybody. Everybody. So the thing about this book is awesome. Now, it was number 5 on the list of the best-selling business books for the year that it was published, and I'm going to be around all day and all night. So if you want your book signed at the break or anything like that, then come see me, because if you've got a best-selling book signed by a best-selling author, then you know that sucker is worth $1 million when you go to resell it on eBay. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.